A few days later, I began to sense the storm gathering around me. Henry's anger became more unpredictable, his mood swinging wildly from forced sweetness to explosive accusations. Some evenings, he would sit across from me at the dinner table, speaking in a low, coaxing voice, reminding me of our promises and shared life. But beneath the veneer, I could hear the desperation. Other times, he would slam doors, shout about injustice, and accuse me of being brainwashed by my uncle. Henry's parents weren't any better. They began dropping by unannounced, their eyes scanning every corner of the mansion as if cataloging their future possessions. My mother-in-law, in particular, carried herself with a smug confidence. She whispered to Henry within earshot, certain that eventually I would come to my senses and split everything evenly. They underestimated me, and more importantly, they underestimated the careful foresight of my father. One night, as rain pattered softly against the windows, I sat in the study with the will resting on the desk before me. The embossed seal of the lawyer's office glimmered faintly in the lamp's glow. I ran my fingers across the paper, thinking of my father's steady hands signing it. He had known the dangers that lay ahead for me, and even in death, he had placed a shield between me and those who wished to drain me dry. It was then that Liam came in, holding 2 mugs of tea. He set one down beside me and sat opposite. His eyes, though still youthful, carried a weight no young man should have to bear. "Mom," he said, breaking the silence, "I've been thinking, if Dad can betray you like this, if Grandma and Grandpa can be so greedy, then maybe it's better we don't call them family anymore. Maybe family isn't just blood, it's who stands by you." His words pierced me, stirring both pride and sorrow. My son had seen too much, yet his wisdom, his clarity, reminded me that I wasn't fighting this battle alone. I reached across the table, squeezing his hand. "You're right, Liam. Family is loyalty, respect, and love, and we still have that, even if they've chosen another path." The next day, matters came to a head. Henry stormed into the living room, his mother trailing behind him like a shadow. He waved a crumpled piece of paper, a hastily written petition for property division. "This is ridiculous," he shouted. "I've been your husband for 14 years. 14 years, and now you and your uncle think you can just cut me out of everything? I've earned my share." I stood, meeting his fury with calm steel. "Henry, you've earned nothing. You squandered money, you lied, you cheated, you didn't build this house, you didn't build this legacy. My father did." My mother-in-law sneered. "How dare you speak to him like that? You're his wife, Diana. Your father's property is marital property now. You cannot keep it all for yourself." Liam, who had been standing at the doorway, stepped forward. His voice was firm, trembling only slightly with emotion. "Grandma, stop. That house is Grandpa's gift to Mom and to me. You don't get to touch it." The air grew heavy. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Henry's face twisted with contempt. "You've poisoned him against me," he spat. "You've turned my own son into my enemy." I looked him in the eye, my voice unwavering. "No, Henry, you did that yourself." With that, I walked away, leaving them stewing in their rage. Inside, my heart was pounding, but I felt a strange calmness settle over me. The fear that had chained me for years was gone. Later that evening, my uncle arrived, carrying another stack of documents. "Diana," he said, "I've secured legal protections. The will is airtight. Henry and his parents have no legal standing, but you need to prepare yourself. They won't stop pushing. They may try to shame you, manipulate you, even threaten you." I nodded, my resolve firm. "Let them try. I'm ready now." As the days passed, I began to notice something remarkable. The house, once echoing with grief, started to feel alive again. Liam studied diligently in the library, his laughter sometimes drifting through the halls. My uncle often visited, sharing stories of my father's youth and reminding us of the values he stood for. Slowly, the mansion was transforming, not into the trophy Henry's parents craved, but into a sanctuary of resilience, love, and memory. But deep inside, I knew the battle wasn't over. Henry's pride had been wounded, and his parents' greed was insatiable. They would return, and when they did, I vowed I would be ready, not just to defend my father's legacy, but to reclaim my own life once and for all. I was handling the situation well despite the overwhelming challenges. My uncle's calm reassurance gave me strength, but that evening, when he called and asked to meet urgently, I sensed something deeper was unfolding. We met in his study, the warm glow of the desk lamp contrasting with the weight of his words. "Diana," he began gravely, "there's something you need to know. I've been digging into Henry's behavior, and what I found, it's worse than I thought. My breath caught. Worse? What do you mean? He slid a folder across the desk. Inside were photographs, receipts, and legal documents, proof of Henry's infidelity and evidence that my in-laws had been plotting to pressure me into surrendering my inheritance. They had been in touch with shady financial advisors, even drafting plans that included selling parts of my father's estate. I was stunned, my heart pounding in disbelief. I had known Henry was reckless, but the extent of their scheming left me shaken. They were already planning my father's legacy as if he were gone, I whispered, clutching the edge of the folder. Outraged, my uncle reassured me firmly. You are not alone in this, we'll fight this together. But Diana, you need to be prepared, they won't back down easily. The next day, I decided to bring Liam into the fold. Sitting across from him at the kitchen table, I gently explained the situation. His eyes widened with a mix of anger and sorrow as I spoke. So Dad and Grandma, they've been planning all of this behind your back? He asked. Yes, sweetheart, I said, brushing his hand comfortingly. And you need to know the truth. It won't be easy, but we'll get through this together. His jaw tightened with determination. Then I'll stand with you, Mom, no matter what. Encouraged by his resolve, we set a plan. I invited Henry and his parents for a discussion at the mansion, suggesting, almost mockingly, that we explore the idea of all living together. The moment the words left my mouth, my mother-in-law's eyes sparkled with greedy delight. A dreamlike mansion, she exclaimed, clasping her hands. Finally, a proper home for us all. But reality soon crept in. My father-in-law immediately raised the issue of the cancelled Hawaii trip. You'll have to reimburse us for the cancellation fees, he demanded flatly. I sat there, utterly appalled. Even in a supposed family discussion, their minds circled back to money. Liam, unable to contain himself, snapped, You're unbelievable. Grandpa just died, and all you care about is a vacation you can't even afford. His voice cracked with raw anger. I rested a calming hand on his shoulder, whispering, We'll handle this, stay calm. But inside, I shared his outrage. Henry, oblivious to the storm brewing, pressed forward with logistics. If we're moving in, Diana, it has to be soon. We can't waste time. I forced a polite smile. Of course, Liam and I will go first to get things ready. The mansion is large, it'll take time to prepare. Henry frowned. Liam? He's just a student, he can't manage a house like that. My son bristled, but I answered smoothly, Liam is capable of more than you give him credit for, trust me. The conversation drifted toward the mansion's size and the number of rooms. My mother-in-law giggled like a schoolgirl, already fantasizing, I'll take the biggest one with a balcony. Oh, what a view it must be. I nodded, playing along. Of course, you'll get to choose first. They left that day smug and satisfied, thinking they had won. But in my heart, I knew I was setting the stage for their undoing. A month later, the day arrived. A moving truck rolled into the driveway, Henry and his parents stepping out with triumphant smiles, ready to claim what they thought was theirs. Liam and I stood at the gate, calm and resolute. As the truck engine rumbled, my uncle emerged from the mansion. His presence was commanding, his voice steady. This house is not yours to take, he declared, by my late brother's will. It belongs to Diana and her son. You have no claim here. Henry blinked in shock, his bravado faltering. What? That's absurd. Diana is my wife. Everything should be shared. Not when infidelity is involved. My uncle shot back, holding up documents. We have proof of your affairs, collected over the past month. Liam, stepping forward with trembling hands, added, I saw you, Dad, at the hotel. Stop lying. You don't deserve to be here. The words landed like a blow. Henry's face drained of color, but before he could reply, his mother interjected, So what if he made a mistake? Men do that. What matters is the property. We quit our jobs to move here. Her admission floored me. You quit your jobs? I repeated, incredulous. All of this, your future, you gambled on money that wasn't yours? They grew defensive, insisting they deserved a share, but my uncle cut in sharply. Enough. From this moment, all matters will be handled legally. Leave this property immediately, or we'll have the authorities involved. Henry glared at me, hatred simmering in his eyes, but he knew he had been cornered. With no more ground to stand on, they retreated, their illusions of grandeur shattered. That evening, as silence finally returned to the mansion, I felt the weight of months, years, of suffering begin to lift. Liam hugged me tightly. It's over, Mom, we did it. Tears blurred my vision, but for the first time in a long while, they weren't tears of pain. Yes, I whispered, we did. From then on, Liam and I settled into the mansion, honoring my father's memory. My uncle helped guide us through the legal process, ensuring Henry and his parents could never stake another false claim. Meanwhile, Henry and his parents floundered, jobless, financially strained, and stripped of their schemes. They were forced to rent a cramped old apartment. Henry picked up odd jobs, a shadow of the man who once strutted with arrogance. When he called me months later, asking for money, I refused without hesitation. Never again, Henry, I told him coldly before hanging up. As I focused on my career and watched Liam dedicate himself to his studies, dreaming of becoming a lawyer like his uncle, I finally felt hope blossom. For the first time in years, the path ahead was clear. It wasn't easy, but it was ours. And standing in the quiet halls of my family home, surrounded by the memories of my father, I knew he would be proud.